backyard vegetable gardeners. Welcome to the Backyard Vegetable Gardening channel. Today is Wednesday, February the 5th, 2025. I sure hope you're having a great day. You know, when I was a boy, we lived in the big city, Chicago. And I know you might not have picked up on that by the accent that I have now. But when I was a boy, we lived in the big city. And as far as enjoying nature, there wasn't really a whole lot of that going on. There was a little bit of grass and a few trees here and there, but really, we didn't get out in the country too much. We lived in the concrete jungle. Later on, my family moved down here in the South in North Carolina, and things changed. We moved to a very rural community surrounded by cattle. We had cows everywhere. Tobacco and cows, that's about all I seen. But it wasn't long after we moved to this part of the country that I realized that wild blackberries grew everywhere. And of course, I got the lecture every now and again, don't pick them by the side of the road, the state would spray, and that's really good advice. I'll give that advice to you. If you find wild blackberries growing along the roadway, don't eat those. They've probably been sprayed with some kind of pesticide or something, or herbicide. But if you find them out in the woods, oh man, you want to talk about a treat. In fact, my grandmother used to send me and one of my cousins routinely in the summer months to go get her some blackberries. When they were producing, we were expected to get us a gallon pail apiece and go out there and pick her some blackberries, and boy, she could make some good pies and pastries. We just had a wonderful time. But it really wasn't till just a few years ago where the dreams that I had as a little boy, being able to go outside in your backyard or on your property somewhere and enjoying some fresh picked fruit, became reality. And man, I'm gonna tell you what, especially now that we got these grandbabies, that is a real joy. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you a few of the plants that I recently picked up that almost anybody can grow, whether you live in an apartment or whether you've got a little bit of land. And I'm even going to share a few surprises at the end, some little picks that I found that you just might enjoy, and I sure hope you stick around. The first variety we're going to talk about is one that my grandmother would approve of. She used to have us kids go out and pick those blackberries. Well, this is a Baby Cakes blackberry, and it's a container plant. It's a little dwarf plant. It grows 3 foot to 4 foot tall and that big around, produces 2 crops a year. Sounds pretty good. It's hardy from zones 4 to zones 8. Produces a large, sweet, classic flavor berry. And I tell you what, we're really excited about these. In fact, the next few varieties are all dwarf plants. You can grow them in containers. You put them on your patio, anywhere you want. If you're not familiar with the Baby Cakes blackberry, I sure hope you give it a try. We've never grown them before. We've seen them in the nursery. They seem to be doing really, really well. And you can't go wrong with a sweet, classic flavor blackberry. And the next variety of plant we're going to discuss is the raspberry shortcake. You might have guessed, it is a raspberry, also a dwarf variety, self-pollinating. Don't have to have a whole lot of space to grow it. It says it grows 2 to 3 feet tall and just that big around. It's hardy from zone 4 up to zone 9. It says the berry has a sweet vanilla essence. Now, I don't know what that means. We've got some raspberries. We've got some heritage raspberries out there, but when we first moved to this property, the previous owner had a grove of raspberries. He had about 30 to 40 plants out there, and man, it was wonderful that first year. We had berries and berries and berries for days. But when that second season came, and it came time to take care of those plants, it seemed to be that I was pretty much solely responsible for upkeeping that little grove, and I wasn't really interested in doing all that by myself. So few years down the road, when I had my office remodeled and they had the utility power company was out here burying power lines, I had them take that mini excavator and clear that whole space. Now, I do regret that somewhat. We surely enjoyed those raspberries, but I'll tell you what I don't miss. I don't miss taking care of a patch of raspberries that was that large. Those are very prolific. It was always having to cut those shoots to keep them contained. But with these little raspberry shortcake variety, you can put these in a container. You can put them on your patio. You can put them on your front porch. You can put them anywhere you want and have you some really wonderful raspberries. Now, I don't know exactly what the flavor profile is other than what that description said. But if you like raspberries and you don't have a whole lot of space, or maybe you just want to decorate your porch or your patio, this might be a good option. And the last variety of dwarf plant we're going to talk about is this silver dollar blueberry plant, also by the Bushel and Berry Company. It says it grows 2 to 3 foot tall and about that big around. Like all blackberries, it requires acidic soil. It's hardy in zones 5 through 10, produces a medium-sized berry, and what's interesting, says the flavor profile is sweet with a pineapple essence. Now, I'll be interested to try that. Hopefully, it'll produce berries this year. I don't know with these. Probably next year is what I'll be waiting for. It might produce a few this year. But we've got another exotic variety. I guess exotic's the word. We have a pink lemonade variety out there. Got 3 of those bushes. This year will be the first year they produce any fruit. Really looking forward to that. It's supposed to be really sweet. But when it comes to these blueberry plants, the Bushel and Berry Company and the blackberries and raspberries, they have a good assortment of these little dwarf plants. And I'll tell you, the more I thought about them last year, the more I wanted some. But the problem was when you go to the store, especially if you're going to a nursery and they've spent all the time to take care of these things and pot them up and make sure that they're healthy for sale, they cost a good bit more. Those plants were $30 and $40 a plant, and you can pick these up at Lowe's or Home Depot, Walmart, Tractor Supply, anywhere like that. And these are $10.99. So it's a good value, and it says these have a summer to fall harvest. So if you don't have a whole lot of room and you're looking to grow you some blueberries, you might want to look into dwarf variety like these here from the Bushel and Berry Company, the silver dollar blueberry. And another variety, and I can't believe I almost forgot to mention, strawberries. As you can tell, this is a little bitty container. Now this is a plant that we propagated from our patch. We've got several raised planter boxes full of strawberries. We've got strawberries all around the property, and you can grow these anywhere. Now I've never done it, but I do know people can grow these inside. I don't know if I would do it because you probably have to wiggle jiggle on those blooms. I don't know, maybe you don't. But I do know these are self-pollinating, and there's several varieties. I don't know which variety this is. I know my favorite variety that we grow is the Quinault variety. They just seem to taste the best. But as you can tell from that container, anybody with just a little bit of space can grow strawberries. And just like I said, we had that one right there outside the back door, and we've got them everywhere. So if you're looking for a way to have fruit around your house and you ain't got a lot of space, or even if you do, strawberries would be a great way to do that. And moving away from the dwarf variety plants, we're going to talk about something that's still container friendly. And I just have the box. We've done potted this one up. It's the Chicago hardy fig. And as the name suggests, it's very cold hardy. And I'll put that picture up there again. You can look how beautiful those figs look right there. I'm really excited about that. I've never grew figs. In fact, the only reason I'm growing this fig is because that fruit looks so beautiful. So this fig plant, if you plant it in the ground, can grow 12 to 15 feet tall. But if you put it in a container, it will be limited by the size of the container. And there's several videos on the internet where people are growing these in container. Gardening with Leon has actually got some. I love his content. Hope he's doing well. But that is our plan for these. Now I might, in a few years, uproot this little dogwood tree that we have on one side of the house. It's still growing, but it don't look too good these days. And this might make a wonderful addition to that area of the property right beside the driveway. But even if you don't have a lot of space, now I don't know if you could grow this in a container on your balcony or your front porch. You might. It's self-pollinating, but it is a tree. It's not a bush. It's a tree, and it's not a dwarf. But it doesn't grow that big as far as trees go. And if you like figs, this might be a good option for you. This channel is aimed to encourage everybody who wants to grow food to be able to grow their own food. And Now, I know everybody can't grow their own food. Some people, they just don't have the space for nothing. They don't even have a space to put up a little kitchen rack like the one we've got behind us and the one in front of us, where we're growing this indoor salad vegetable garden. But if you do have a little bit of property, we've got 2 more plants to show you. And I don't have no experience with either one of these, but I've been wanting them for such a long time. And one of them was this hardy kiwi. And I'll show you a box. There's several varieties. This is the prolific variety. And if I can flip it over here, it's hardy from zones 4 to 8. But now the one thing I'm going to tell you is this is not a little plant. This thing grows like a grapevine. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it can grow 20 to 25 feet in 1 year. Now, I don't plan on letting ours grow that large, but I've really got to find the right space to put this plant. If you like kiwi and you live in a zone like I live and it gets too cold to grow your regular kiwis, this is a good variety. Now, this is not a regular kiwi like you expect that you got to peel and all that stuff. This looks more like big grapes, about the size of your thumb there, and it's supposed to be just as flavorful as the traditional kiwis. It just, the fruit grows a little different. Very, very excited. We were going to try to find one of these last year, but unfortunately they were very hard to find. There was none locally, and when I did find some on the internet, they were as much as $109 a plant. In fact, some of those shops online are still selling them for that price. So when I found a healthy looking cutting for just under $11, I was really, really excited. So if you do have a little bit of property and you're interested in some kiwis, they say these plants are really good if you just want to attract wildlife, and I do dread that. We've got enough wildlife as it is. But I'm very excited about these hardy kiwis. And if you've got a little bit of property and you like kiwis, maybe you're a little excited about them too. And the next variety we're going to talk about is this Nanking Cherry plant. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have absolutely zero experience with this plant, but I was really excited about it. It's hardy in zones 2 through 7 and can tolerate some shade, but it only gets 6 to 10 feet high, which is not terribly large. And I imagine if you kept it pruned back, you could keep it smaller than that, because it does say 6 to 10 feet, so that's not very large. It's not as nearly as prolific as something like that hardy kiwi plant, but if you've ever smelled cherry blooms or cherry blossoms, man, that's just a wonderful smell. It's not really a cherry plant from what I understand. It's not like a cherry tree, but it does say it produces half-inch sized fruits that are tart and cherry-like in their flavor. So I'm really excited about this. Now, one of the things that's really interesting about this plant is one of the descriptions says that it's great for making edible hedges. You can plant them about 4 feet apart and you can have an edible hedge. Now, I don't know what we're going to do with it, but I can tell you this. My favorite cake in the world is a cherry cheesecake. Man, I love them things. I love cherries. And I'm really excited to finally have something that gives me that kind of flavor right here on our property. Now, I don't know if we can use these in a cherry cheesecake or not, but I am really excited to grow them. So if you do have just a little bit of property, or you're curious to see whether this thing can grow in a container, because if it only gets that big, I imagine you could grow it in a feed tub or something like that. I don't know. But I can tell you this, for a little under $9, this is a very exciting plant for me to buy. I'm really looking forward to it this summer. And there sure are plenty more varieties of plants that you can grow in containers. We grow some citrus trees in containers, some navel oranges and some Meyer lemons, but didn't really think those would be too beginner friendly. And I wanted to make a video that just suited the purpose of the channel. I want to encourage everybody who wants to grow food to be able to do so. And this is a great way to do it. I really do wish when I was a little bit of youngin' that somebody would have told me strawberries were that easy to grow, or that these dwarf variety plants were a thing. So I hope I've encouraged you. If you want to grow fruit, I hope I've showed you a few ways you can get started. If you like this video, I sure hope you'll do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel. If you like gardening and garden-related content, I sure hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. You know, 86% of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribers. If you know folks who are interested in this type of thing, I sure hope you share it with them on other social media. So guys, it's always been good to be with you. My name is Michael. This is the Backyard Vegetable Gardening Channel, and I hope you're having a great day.